Anna bought me an easel for my birthday. I think because she thought it would be really great if I tried painting to get into, to use that for the character. So I tried and it ended terribly. Like to the point where what I put on the canvas, I wanted to burn, and it got shoved under my bed until
He was really upset.
I was really upset. But that was my last foray into painting. I think the art department always puts in something that kind of reflects, the show thematically for that season. I'm not sure what this season's is. There's a really big one that says cops are gay. I don't know what that means. I'm going to get into a lot of trouble politically.
Well, that's okay.
But I'm wearing my feminist pin, so it's okay.
Yeah.
She got me a feminist pin.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like Mrs. S and Felix are kind of getting pushed to the wayside a little bit with all the new clones that are being introduced as far as what we've seen. Is that true, or are they kind of having their own adventures, or what's going on?
No, there's plenty of them there. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Castor Leda, it's huge. Obviously, it's a huge theme in season 3. But also, I don't think that the smaller, not smaller, I guess the smaller groupings I don't think are any less important. There's still some really serious family stuff. There's some looking a little bit more at our backstory. There's some looking at how we are developing as a family and how we are within our crazy dysfunctional world, at how we're finding some place of trust in each other and a true trust, so that where you really can depend on each other, so you do act like a proper family. I don't think you'll see less of us or wish there was more of us.
Well, do they either one of them trust Paul at this point? I mean, Paul's kind of flip-flopped to all different sides.
Yeah, I think Mrs. S anyway has a kind of uneasy alliance with him, certainly. But if you look at how their alliance, was left at the end of season 2, I mean, she's made some fairly serious decisions herself. She always feels she's making them from a place of some strong moral compass, and that somehow they're necessary to justify the safety of her family ultimately. But Paul also operates from a moral compass, doesn't he? He does switch sides, but there is I don't know. I feel somehow there's redemption within him still.
So she trusts him, huh?
No, she doesn't.
Trust may be the wrong word.
Trust is the wrong word. Yeah.
Well, how does Felix feel about him at this point?
About Paul?
Yeah.
I think our concerns have also grown. Paul is still on the radar, absolutely, and he's involved, but our concerns have grown so far beyond Topside and Dyad and Paul. That expression, the devil you know versus the devil you don't. Dyad is someone we've been aware of and fighting against since the first season. Castor is a whole other demon.
Well, initially, when I was asked to do the show, Graham, who I think you're going to meet today, Graham, one of the co-creators, the showrunner, and the main writer, he said to me that the inspiration for Mrs. S came from Patti Smith. So that kind of sold it for me. I was really happy to go with that. So I knew that she was going to be interesting and complicated from that perspective. So while season 1 was very much the most thing you saw from her was nurture, I think, and this kind of desire to the biggest thing that she was doing really, I think, was trying to mind Kira and make a sort of a safe and stable home for her. And her only interaction really with Felix and Sarah was to sort of chastise them or give out to them because they were not helping her or supporting her to do that. So I kind of knew that beyond that it's alluded to a little bit, but I knew that she came from a very interesting place, and that she had thrown everything in her life away to bring them to a new place to keep them safe. So I knew that we were going to get to see more of it. I wasn't sure when, but I knew that it was going to come. So I was very glad when it did. It's interesting to play interesting people.
We know Ellison's going to be running for a political office, sort of. Is Felix going to become like a campaign manager, or how is he going to be involved?
I think it's safe to say that Felix couldn't resist the drama of a good campaign, but I won't tell you in what capacity he's involved.
He's not going to go, what are you thinking? That's a public office. The attention's going to be on you.
No, I think that the temptation of watching Allison either succeed or crash and burn is just, it's too much.
Irresistible.
It's irresistible.
Yeah.
It's irresistible fodder.
So Felix might be fleeing a little bit from the caster situation, going, hey, that's just too many clones for me. Maybe I'll go hang out over there.
Fleeing may not be the right word. What was interesting for me this season is that we see brand new shades of Felix. Yes, he's still funny. Yes, he's still there's still a lightness to him, but I think there's also a depth. We're starting to play in the muck. We're starting to get to maybe a bit more of the core of who he is, who happens to be a much more resilient, strong, powerful person, a powerful grown-up, very afraid, very scared all the time, which was an easy parallel for me because I'm 25 and the world is a scary place and you're thinking about the future and who am I and what does it all mean. So these were all easy parallels that I drew from. But the arc and the deepening kind of happened unexpectedly. It wasn't something that we were working toward. I think it's just a natural progression of growing as a character and of the story and what's being asked of him by the other characters, by S, by Sarah. And we have great stuff this season. It was really neat to play that dynamic this season.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things for me from Mrs. S was that she's always just operated on her own terms. It's always her way or the highway. You know, and in many ways that's why her and Sarah clashed so much always, apart from the fact that Sarah was, she was quite wild and she did renege a little bit on her responsibility towards her daughter. Certainly in season 1 they're sort of getting over that the whole season. But also they're very alike, so they clashed all the time. And I think for the first time in season 3, I think you get to see her realize that these are not her little kids that she brought and she's just protecting anymore. They're adults in their own right, and actually they do get some stuff right, and she doesn't always get it right. So you see her, I think, try to take that on board, to trust them or to treat them like adults.
And sometimes helping to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
Not always having to lean on S too, but sometimes we pick up the pieces as a family.
Yeah.
Which of the male clones should we be most afraid of? They all kind of seem kind of sinister.
They're all pretty tricky, aren't they? I mean, obviously none of them are my favorites. So, yeah. And one particularly just kicks the shit out of me in episode 1. So, they're all bad. They're just all bad. Yeah.
Rudy's seems especially insane.
Yeah.
Scarface.
Yeah.
The one we made at the end of season 2. He's unwell. I think, everything we saw at the end of season 2, his nose pressed against the glass, breathing like an animal into Sarah's face. That just seems a bit unhinged to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
When people do that to me in life, I just get a little bit, it just seems a little weird.